Behind the Shades.
My 20s, I was just trying to survive. And by survive, I mean that I had no idea how to, in a healthy way, maintain certain relationships. To me, it was basically what I saw on TV, right? It was like, okay,
Yeah.
I knew Johnny John the streets since we were kids. So we had to be friends because our parents were friends. Him and I are
Yeah.
going to be friends. It's like destiny, right? It's us against the world, the neighborhood against every single person. And then one thing I found out as I grew up, as I became an adult, was that the world that I wanted to be a part of, the world that I wanted to help create, it was no longer the same world that these people want to be a part of. And
Yep.
as I began to push forward and begin to understand, it was like my success, my growth, my healing was separating me from people that wanted to remain broken,
Yep.
toxic, unhealthy. And another thing that I did notice was that my relationship suffered because I didn't know what a healthy relationship was. My parents were living in a toxic relationship. They were separating, they were together, but they weren't together, right? They're in the same house,
Yeah,
but they
I
weren't
agree.
together, right?
Yeah.
And I remember one time where I used to love, well, he's like the biggest villain now, right? But I used to love the Cosby Show, right?
Yes.
Right. He was like the prototype, perfect black father, black family for everyone. Before all the allegations, people don't kill me, okay? So when I saw that, I would see families getting together at the dinner table. I would see parents communicating. I would see husband and wife talking to each other. How was your day? How was this?
Hmm.
And I was like, I want that so
Yeah.
bad that the person that I was with at the time, I was like, okay, once we graduate from school, we're getting married. We're
Yeah.
broke. We don't have a house. We don't have a car, right? We're wearing this.
Yeah.
We only have 4 different outfits for a 5-day week, but we are going to make it work. And I learned so much about myself through all the failure that I went to. And I began to realize that words of affirmation became something that was really important to me because I didn't hear the words I love you
Yeah.
growing up. I didn't hear the
Mm.
words that you're going to be successful growing up. And because I was so disconnected from my family, quality time became something that was very important to me as well. That's how I was coping because I was yearning for these things. When
Yeah.
you share your story, how you began to tell people, men and women, compliments, I hear someone that maybe didn't hear those kind words growing up, because as you mentioned, you're a bigger girl and people maybe look down on you because of that. And I always say bigger arms, bigger hugs,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh
Absolutely.
yeah.
Right. So for you, how did you, outside of giving the compliments, was there any other way that you were building up your self esteem because some people began to view you as arrogant or something else?
Mm. Yeah, well, there has been a lot of different things that I've done, honestly, and one of them has become extremely self-assured. So I know my gut will tell me exactly what I should be doing, and every time I go against it, like terrible things happen. And so for me, because like a lot of time, and like thank you for sharing what you just did, because it's what you experience is like a lot of people experience, and I just want to quickly touch on that because it's the same thing in Australia. Like people get out of school and they just get into relationships, then they get married, they have children, blah 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 blah, but they never have that that self reflection to kind of go, well, is what I'm doing okay, am I healthy, like, and so there is that separation, and for me I experienced exactly what you did. There was that divide between I'm going to develop and go this way, and the other's going that way, and it's a very difficult experience to, and that's where the kind of I really feel like the self-assurance came in, because I kind of was left to go, well, what are you going to do, Steph? Are you going to allow other people's perception and judgment of you of how they see you create your life, because that's what essentially was happening. It was like they were coupled together. It was like the perception of others, the judgment of others, what they thought of me was, essentially like a cotton sheet. It was completely entwined with one another, and I had to uncouple that. And so how do you uncouple that within yourself to then become trusting of who you are and your intuition? And essentially what happened was I got treated so badly that I was just like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to continually go round in circles. I don't want the same outcome. I don't want to feel crap. And so I had to have a conversation and go, look, you need to become okay with yourself and with loneliness. And you need to find interests, and you need to find out what that means. And so I went on this massive exploration. And essentially what I did was I was like, okay, I'm going to, and I spent 3 to 6 months doing this. I kind of cut myself off from everybody. And then I sat down and I was like, okay, what do I want? And I had to kind of go in every part of my life. I had to ask myself what I wanted. And it's very difficult for a lot of people, I've realized, to do this, to become so not self-accepting. I don't know what the word is, but to like be so self-assured of what you want as a human being and the direction that you want to go in. And so like, how did I become like this person? How did I become have self-esteem? Well, obviously self-love was one, but understanding and respecting my wants and desires was another one, regardless of what everyone else wanted, right? And that's been a really hard lesson. And so what I mean by that second one is going, okay, so what do I want? Sitting down, asking myself that, but then going, do I want, if someone goes, hey, Seth, can you come to a lunch? And I'm like, my gut's going, I don't really want to because I really don't like your friends. And then you go anyway, and then you go to that lunch and you go there out of obligation because that's what you're supposed to do and blah, 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 blah. And so you get there and you sit down and you're like, you know what? I wasn't supposed to be here. I didn't want to be here. And this isn't great. And you knew that, right? And so what I was doing was I wasn't putting myself first. I was putting the peer pressure of society and the conditioning before my wants and desires. And so what I had to do was before I would answer anybody, I would have to go, well, what do I actually want, Stephanie? Do I want to engage in this way? Do I want that in my life? And I would have to just turn around and go, look, I don't want to go and do that, because there was enough times that I'd gone and I'd done it out of obligation and it didn't serve me. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. So I had to kind of be really hard. And that was a really difficult thing for me to do, because I really love human beings and I love connection and I love being around people, but it was the wrong people.